So let us begin with the continuous integration tool Jenkins. Before we get into Jenkins, let us understand and deep dive into what is continuous integration, how it will help us, like what exactly is continuous integration. I'm sharing a screen, a blackboard. I believe you all can see that. So what is continuous integration? This term continuous is important. So initially, there's a team of developers. We have already learned that developers write the code, they make the commits, they put the code in the version control systems like GitHub, right? So whenever any code changes are done, right, those are pushed to some version control system. Now we technically know they were called as commits, right? So people make the commits, particularly developer team make the commits, and those commits will be pushed into version control system. And this is a continuous process. This keep on having continuing, ongoing, which we call as continuous development, right? So once developers have made a commit, I need a system which can identify, okay, developers have made some changes, some commits were done. Now pull the code and build it, right? We need a system which can identify there's a commit and which can pull the code and build it or compile it or package it, whatever it is. Let's say in short, building the code, which is again continuous builds. So what is meant by building the code? It's nothing but the combination of compiling the code and packaging the code, right? What is meant by compiling? Converting the source code into executable is called compiling, right? Like for example, if you take .java files, they will be converted into .class files. If you have 10 Java files, they all will be converted into 10 class files, the binaries, the executables, whatever you call it, right? So this is what is compiling. Then what is packaging? All of these 10 class files will be converted into a single ready to be deployable file, right? Which is called packaging. So these two to put together, like compiling and packaging put together is called building the code. So coming back here, whenever developers make some code changes, right, we need a system which will identify it and build it. Whenever there is a change, the system should identify and build it, right? So during this build process, there might be some syntax errors, right? Or runtime errors. So who will fix those errors? Syntax errors, runtime errors during the build process, build may fail. Who will fix it? Who should fix it? Who is responsible for it? Okay, there is a message in the chat window. Dev team, right. So dev team is responsible for it. So they have to fix those errors. So we send those errors, means whenever there's an error, it would be sent back to the development team, right? Developers will fix it. Fix it means some code change, means it's a commit. Those commits will be pushed again, which is continuous delivery, continuous development. So fix it, make a change means again a code commit. So we have a system, whenever there's a code commit, it will trigger the build, and once builds are successful, it will trigger the testing. Let's say continuous testing begins here. Continuous testing means again there's a separate testing team, right? Who will write the test cases, right? It could be like particularly when you are integrating it in the pipeline, it would be the automated test cases. Those test cases will be executed. Those test cases can be written in Selenium or UFT or JMeter or JUnit framework and whatever it is, right? Those test cases will be automatically executed here. So understand the difference. DevOps team is not going to write the test cases. Like source code is provided to you by developers, test cases will be provided to you by testing team, automation test engineers. If it is a unit level testing, the basic or the first level developers might be doing it. That's a different thing. But just understand, test cases will be provided and those will be executed here. Let's say some of the test cases failed. Who should fix it again? Who will fix this? Who is responsible for fixing the bugs or defects, right? When they test it means they'll identify some bugs or defects. Who should fix it? let's say here pass scenario, all test case pass. If it is a failure, like if test case has failed, obviously it should be reported to developers and they'll fix it, right? So yeah, so they'll fix it, and those changes are again pushed to version control system. Developers will fix it. This process keep on continuing until all the test cases passed. Let's say test cases passed, then it will go for continuous deployment. Means continuous deployment. So here also it would be deployed to test environments, right? Here also before testing, it's deployed to test and then tested. Here continuous deployment, I'm talking about deployment to next level, next higher environments, right? Maybe, okay, testing, deploy to test, it worked, it is all passed, all test case passed, deploy to integration, staging environments or pre-prod environments, right? And then test it here. If testing is successful here, then continuous monitoring. If deployment, like if something fail here, again it would be fixed. Of course, if it is infrastructural changes or something, that would be taken care by ops teams, or else if it failed on some other environments, that would be again reported, and this process keep on continuing, right? So if you see continuous development, continuous builds, continuous testing, and then continuous deployment, this process is ongoing, and this is called continuous integration in simple. Means the actual part of continuous integration is this one. Means whenever any change is there, it is merged into the system and tested. It's merged into the system and tested, which is called continuous integration. And that's where a continuous integration tool called Jenkins comes in. There are many other tools in the category like udeploy or co-deploy service on AWS, or else GitLab, Bamboo, TeamCity, and so on. Jenkins is very famous and very widely used for the obvious reasons, which we are going to discuss in few minutes. If this is clear, I'll talk about, okay, how we'll do it in Jenkins. We'll go ahead. Is this much clear for everyone? Whoever raised the hands, you're all unmuted.
Ma'am, what will you say about continuous monitoring, ma'am?
Continuous monitoring is your application is deployed, so it would be monitored by some monitoring tools, right? They'll be monitoring for the service status or the server status, whether the service is up and running or not, the health of the application, health of the servers, all of that will be monitored and the report will be sent to the concerned teams.
And ma'am, will you tell also now continuous monitoring?
Continuous monitoring is what I explained.
Ma'am, I am asking to you, will you tell also now continuous monitoring that how can I see each and every scenario that someone is
You mean, do we cover continuous monitoring? Is that your question?
yes, ma'am.
We'll be covering it.
Yeah,
Continuous
okay.
monitoring is towards the last end of the course.
Yeah, okay.
Hi, Preeti. Can you repeat again entire scenario, please?
Where did you lost?
No, from starting onwards. Can you repeat again, please?
Like developers are making the changes, right? When they make changes, they are pushed to version control systems, right? Which is continuous development. Once those changes are pushed, those code changes will be pulled and built, which is continuous builds. Like the compiling and packaging of the code happens here through some build or whatever it is at the backend, continuous builds. Once builds are successful, it will go for deployment, which is continuous deployment. Continuous testing. And if test cases, like let's say some of the test cases fail, some bugs were identified, again, it would be sent back to the developers where they'll make the changes, fix it. Again, the process repeats, continuous development, builds, testing. And once testing passed, all test cases are successful, it would be deployed to the next level, next environment. And that's the process. That's how it continues.
These integrations doing in Jenkins or
Yes,
any-
Jenkins.
okay.
See, this is the concept. How do you do
Okay.
that? There are different tools, like you have Jenkins, you have GitLab, right? Bamboo, TeamCity. These are all different continuous integration servers. How do we do that? We are going to see that those things.
Okay.
So how do we achieve this in Jenkins? In Jenkins, there'll be something called jobs or tasks. You may call them as a job or a task, or technically once we start Jenkins, you'll see something like item or a project, right? So you will be creating some jobs as build job, test job, deploy job, monitor job, and so on, right? You will be creating these jobs. How do you create? Do you think, okay, let's say job is nothing but a task. So you will be creating this task. So do you think Jenkins is building it, Jenkins is testing it, Jenkins will deploy? Jenkins will not do anything. It's a continuous integration tool, right? It's a continuous integration server or continuous integration tool. It works like an orchestrator. You know, right? In a music band, there'll be an orchestrator who waves his band to tell which instrument should be played at what level, right? So that's an orchestrator. Same as the case here also. Jenkins will just orchestrate the things. Like we will create build job. We have to configure or we have to create the build job by using the right tool at the back end. Like you will be using Maven as a build automation tool. Maybe testers might be giving you test cases written in Selenium or a JUnit, and those test cases will be executed here and deployed via Docker, Kubernetes, and so on. Right? So whatever it is, means you will use the right tool at the backend and create these jobs. As a DevOps engineer, your job is to create these jobs in Jenkins by using the right tool at the backend. You can create a job in such a way that the job will be triggered at the right time by using the right tool. When to trigger the job, when to use which tool, and how to connect them. Means once build is triggered, it may trigger this. Next, this may trigger this, all in an automatic fashion. How is all that happening? Through Jenkins. That's where Jenkins comes in to have this integration across the tools and form the pipeline. Understood? And so Jenkins is not doing anything, right? It's managing all these jobs. That's what Jenkins does. Jenkins is flexible to create such jobs, any type of jobs, by integrating different tools. We will learn how to do that and all. That's all the hands-on on Jenkins, right? So, and this is called continuous integration. But how is it different from the traditional integration which used to happen way back? Isn't it? You need to understand the difference between the traditional integration process and the continuous integration process. Continuous integration is where, like, let's say some code changes, developers have made some code change just now, a commit is made. Immediately, it will go through the entire process. Immediately means this process happens multiple times in a day. Right? Whenever they make a commit, yes, this entire process is repeated. Whereas traditional integration happens once in a 6 months or once in a 3 months, let's say once in a while, right? Integration events are less. And also integration is all manual. There will be a separate integration team who will work with a development lead or manager. They will sit and spend some sleepless nights to integrate it manually. It might be working on those integration servers, but next day it might not be working on the other servers, right? Whereas this one, because every day, every change is going through the process, it's very fast, automatic, no manual errors, right? So it's a seamless. Whereas that's not the case with the traditional integration approach. This is way back where they used to do this integration manually. It's a very tedious and a daunting task for both the development team and integration team. But now the process is automated multiple times a day. So that multiple times a day, it means every change is going to the process. Obviously, you can expect quality here. Whereas here, yes, there is no quality because manual errors are there. Not that every change is going through the process. The whole, like once the module is entirely completed, then it goes through the process. Testing becomes very difficult here, right? New defects, new challenges could be identified. So that's why they had to spend sleepless nights to achieve this. These are all the challenges we had, right? That's the difference between continuous and traditional integration approach. Let me walk you through the differences in the presentation so that it should be very clear for you. Give me a second. Yeah. So continuous integration is the process of automating the build and test process each time a commit is done to the version control system. Each time a change is done, each time a build and test process, each time a commit is done. Whenever a commit is done, it's built, it's tested, it's going through the entire process. So this is the difference. If you see here in traditional integration, these are the integration events, right? So if you see, these are the integration events. The time gap between the events, if you see here, this is the time gap between the events is huge. Whereas here, integration events are very frequent. Integration is happening multiple times a day. And the time gap between the events is very less. Right, so this is the difference between traditional and integration, continuous integration process. If you know the traditional or have an understanding on traditional integration process, you would really appreciate the importance what DevOps has brought or what continuous integration has brought. See the differences, integration events are less in the case of traditional. Integration happens manually once in a while. Also errors because of manual integration, lot of time, lot of effort, more people, right? So these are all the challenges we had. Whereas coming to the benefits of this, continuous improves quality of the product, increases productivity, reduces the risk of manual errors. Any questions from anyone in this part? Is this much clear for everyone? Appreciate your quick responses. Good to go. Okay. So the continuous integration tools are CodeShape, Bamboo, TeamCity, Travis CI. And here you can see the graph of Jenkins when compared with other tools. Jenkins is so widely used because of the features it offers and all. We'll also go through them. Good to move. So the features of Jenkins. It's an open source tool, basically. It's a Java-based application. It's developed in Java, right? And it's open source. It has got a good plugin support. Plugins are like add-ons, which will enhance or extend the functionality of Jenkins. Means, let's say you need a report generation in Jenkins, or else you need a better view in Jenkins, or else you need to integrate with Docker. You have a plugin. You have a plugin for almost everything, like add-ons, like you in your app, you install an add-on for every functionality, right? Something like that. There are actually some programs or executables which will help you enhance these features. There are a lot of plugins already available for free. You can use it. And you have got a good community support. Jenkins is so widely used and it's a Java application, right? Java is so widely used. Obviously, you have a lot of support. And it works on multiple operating systems. As it's a Java-based application, it works on Windows, Linux, Mac, and so on. Easy to set up and upgrade. Distributed team management. Like you can have a team, let's say a DevOps team of 5 people. How do you restrict the permissions for these different users and all can be handled here. So from here on, hands-on begins. Let me know if you have any queries. So that's a brief about like what is a continuous integration, what is a Jenkins kind of intro. We will dig in deep and create these pipelines, whatever we have discussed just now, like continuous builds, continuous testing. We would be working on creating the pipelines. Now let's get into the hands-on, like let's install Jenkins, let's start understanding what is a job and like how do you trigger the jobs automatically and many other things coming up. So let's go ahead. Like I said, Jenkins works on multiple operating systems. You can install your Jenkins on Windows, Linux, or Mac, whatever it is. Here we are going to install it on Linux, EC2 instance, which we are using. Whatever instance you are using till now, you can install it on the same. That should be fine. So let's go to our AWS console. Okay, let's get started. I'm starting a new instance. If you want, you can use the same one. I'm just naming it as Jenkins server, Amazon Linux 2, T2 micro instance, and the key pair is I'm using my existing key pair. And that's all we have for now. And let's launch the instance. So here is the instance. Let's connect to it. You can, there's a question from Manoj, how many instances you can create on AWS console? You can create any number of instances and you should make sure it's 750 hours per month. That's a free tier limit. So you have to use within that limit for free. And also EBS volumes, all of that will be counted for. So we should be sensible while using those. Okay, so this is an EC2 instance. Now let's install Jenkins here.
Madam, where you use this one, that SSH code in the terminal putty or somewhere?
Terminal. I'm using Mac. This is my terminal.
Okay, I have installed Visio. Can I use that link in the Visio?
You have to use it in Git Bash or Mac, or terminal.
Okay.
VS Code editor you can use, but generally when we modify any files and all, then we may use the terminal. It comes with the terminal, right?
Okay.
Okay. So let us install Jenkins. Yeah, you can just go to Google and type in Jenkins download. Go to this Jenkins official one, downloads. And here you can see downloading Jenkins and you see different operating systems. Like I said, it works on multiple operating systems, right? It supports different distributions of Linux, Windows, Mac, and so on. So according to your operating system, you can choose the one. So let's suppose we are using Amazon Linux 2, right? But let's say you are not sure which distribution it is. You can check here. There is a system default, like system created file, which is etc OS release. OS release, right? That's a system defined file, predefined, already available. And it shows you clearly, it's Amazon Linux 2, it's like CentOS, Red Hat systems. So all of these details are clear. Right? So you can check these details here. That's a way you can check your distribution if you want to. And then accordingly you can choose. So mine is CentOS Red Hat based system, right? So I can choose this. And if you just go here, you will see these commands. You can go through these commands. It's about downloading the repo file, right? And then providing the key to download it. So you can go through these steps and install Jenkins. So I'm doing the same. Let me copy this. I'm doing it as a root. So I don't need sudo. Download the repository file, right? See, like this is a etc m.repos.d, right? That's a repositories. Yum repositories available. By default, this is the path where they are available, and this is the repository file we are creating. So Jenkins will be downloaded from here. And the key to download this Jenkins from this repositories. So go to this website and you can run the commands. Even I have shared all these commands, like you will also have these commands in your assignments everywhere. And then M upgrade will upgrade the packages. And then Jenkins is a Java based application, right? So you need to install Java. Java 17 we are trying to install, but if you see no package Java 17 is installed. It's not installing it, saying that package is not found. Some other font package it's installing, right? We can install Java using the command yum install, and I'm going to install some Java Amazon Corretto packages. These commands are available in the drive. A different package of Java 17 that should do. So this will install Java. Now as Java is installed, we may see the version. Right, Java is installed. Now let us install Jenkins. We have downloaded the Jenkins repository file and all. Now we can install Jenkins. Install Jenkins. Confirm it with the Y. Right, Jenkins is installed. Now let's start the service. Systems ETL is an utility with which you can start, stop, and manage your services. So systems ETL start Jenkins. That should start Jenkins service. Right now, once it is started, again you can use, this is again another Linux command, systemctl status, to check the status of your Jenkins. And you can see it's active and running. And whenever you are starting any service in Linux, it would be running with some process ID. You can see here process ID, right? You can get that 3900. And if you want to see like where it is running on which port, netstat -ln-tup. This is the command which will list, this is again a Linux command, which will list the ports where different services are running. See here, different process IDs. It is giving you the complete list, but I would like to check only Jenkins process, right? So let's use pipe operator grep, that process ID 3900, right? It will list only that particular process ID. This is how pipe grep can be used. There's a question from Mukesh. Can I install Jenkins without instance? Without instance means without EC2 instance? You can
Yeah,
install
yes, ma'am.
on your laptop also. Yes, you can.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Means, ma'am, I want to install Jenkins in my system, ma'am. That's why I am asking.
Install it. You can install it.
Yeah, okay.
So here it is showing the process ID 3900. This is a Jenkins one. And it tells you it's running on port 8080. Means Jenkins default port is 8080. It runs on port 8080. How do you access it? It has got a great GUI, like a graphical user interface. And to access this Jenkins, you can go here, get the public IP. Like I want to access it from my Windows, right? So public IP colon 8080. You should be able to see this, but this EC2 instance, we should have that port opened. How do you open that port for this EC2 instance? See, select this one, go to security. This is actually an AWS concept. Okay, go to security. You will see the security groups. Here you will see inbound rules. Inbound rules means allow incoming traffic. Only port 2022 is allowed for SSH connection. SSH works on port 22. Now edit the inbound rules, add the rule, custom TCP, and I would like to add a firewall or open the port for 8080. And this source is important. Source means from where you want to connect. If I choose this anywhere, like I can connect from anywhere to this. Anyone can hit this, right? Right? This is your first page of your Jenkins. So coming back, this is a security groups concept in AWS. Like I said, AWS Linux will be spread throughout the course. This is how we'll revisit the topics throughout the course. So it's not just one time we are doing it. We'll do it multiple times so that you'll get an understanding, you'll get a lot of practice. So don't worry, this is a security group, inbound rules. It's like allowing or opening this particular port, right? So we have to open the port to allow incoming traffic to it. So custom TCP, the port number, and the source is anywhere, means allow traffic from anywhere. But the best practice is choosing from my IP or choosing from particular sources where you need the connectivity. That's what you should do. But for now, I just did allow from anywhere. So I see this is the first time I'll see it as Jenkins locked. How to unlock it? It is telling you unlock password is present here. Okay, let's go to the CLI of the Jenkins server. This is Jenkins server, right? And whenever you install Jenkins, there is something called var lib Jenkins, which is configured. Var lib Jenkins is configured as the home directory for Jenkins. Means all the data, all the configurations of Jenkins will be stored here. Like that's a var lib Jenkins, that's called home directory of Jenkins. Actually, the secret password is present here. If you go here, this is the password. Even that's what is shown on that page. Var lib Jenkins secret initial password. Your password is available here. So this is only one-time task. For the first time of launching Jenkins, it will be locked. You have to unlock it. Now put that password here so that Jenkins will be unlocked. And you will see customize Jenkins. Like we discussed, Jenkins have got something called plugins. You have plugin for everything. Like for any task you do, you have a plugin. So there were some plugins already. You can go with installing those suggested plugins, or else you can choose whatever plugins you need. And this is again for the first time, right? This is only one-time task for the first time. Later on also you can install a plugins after login, but for the first time you can get started with some most widely used plugins. So install the plugins. It will take some time. All of these plugins would be installed in this path. Var lib Jenkins is the home directory for Jenkins. So like you have passwords and secrets folder, there should be something like plugins. Yeah, here are the plugins. As you just keep checking, the count increases. Right, it's a 55 now, 66 now, means like plugins are getting installed, right? Var lib Jenkins is the default home directory for Jenkins, Manoj. And that path can be even changed when you are installing Jenkins. You can configure to a different path, but that's a general practice or the general path where you have what you use as Jenkins home directory. So on the front end, it should be showing, see here, Ant, Gradle plugins, all the different plugins are getting installed. This is again one-time task. Later on, maybe depending on your project requirement, you need a new plugin tomorrow, you could install it after login also. But just getting started with some suggested plugins. See, so many plugins, you can see the count. WC will give you the word count. Pipe, LS is pipe to WC, which will give you the count. Earlier it was 55, 66, but now it was almost 176 plugins. Right? And then once you have the plugins installed, it's asking to create some admin user. Like you can create some user, give any name so that it works like an admin user initially. So let's create some user here. Right, and then it shows the URL. This is the where you have to access your Jenkins. Right. And it says Jenkins is ready. Let's get started. Let's click on start using Jenkins. And this is the welcome page or a dashboard of your Jenkins. So this is how it looks like. Now let's create some sample jobs and let's see how it works. Let's create some sample job or project, whatever you call it. See here, item or a job, all of these are same. Let's create a sample job. Till now we were talking about, right, we'll create a build job, test job and so on. So let's create some job and let's see. So here we can create some job. I'm giving the job name as job. One second. It's not okay. Job one, and I'm creating freestyle is classic general purpose job so that you can use it for integrating with your SCM. SCM means source code management system, or you can use it for archiving the artifacts kind of. So let's choose it and give some name. Like there were so many sections. If you see, I have given name as job one. There were so many sections like general, source code management, triggers, environment, build steps, and so on. We'll be using all of these sections as we progress. For now, let's go for build steps and add the build step as execute shell. I'm trying to execute some shell script or shell command or a Linux command, whatever you call it. Like echo, this is my first job in Jenkins, right? Just some echo command I'm giving. Here you can see job is created. Now you can run the job. Here you are seeing build now, right? This is nothing but run the job, build the job. It's not that building the code. Okay, you have to understand the difference. This is running the job. So let me run the job. And you can see job executed 2:44 a.m. That's a system server time. This is the EC2 instance server time in UTC. Here you can see, right? It's a GMT plus 5:30, right? So that's a system time. And if you click this, go to the console output, you can see started by user admin. See, I logged in as an admin user, means user name itself is admin, and user admin have triggered it. And what is workspace we'll see in some time, and it is executing those commands. Like the shell command is executed and you'll see the output here, right? So that's how you have the data or else the output printed in here. So now you can trigger the job multiple times. This is one of the advantages of a job. This echo command, if you run from your CLI, you have to write the command multiple times and run whenever you want it. But here you can save it. You can run it whenever you want it, right? It could be any job like a deploy job or a test job. As of now, it's a sample job, which is running some shell command, simple Linux command, echo command, right? So this is how you can see any number of bills you can do and all. And the most important thing you have to understand is how is this command executed? Is Jenkins executing it or Java executing it? How is this? Or else, what is the software at the back end which is executing this command? Which software or which executable or which program is executing this echo command? It is same as like how you execute echo commands from your CLI. Any Linux commands, if you execute from the CLI, they'll be executed by the shell program on the server, right? Like a bin bash or a bash program, right? Same is the case here. So that particular Linux executable or bash program is executing it. Jenkins is not doing anything. Jenkins is just helping you trigger this job. That's all. Now I wrote Linux commands. It could be Python commands, Java commands, whatever it is. If it is Python program, like Python should be installed on the server, right? By the way, on which server is the script executing? On which server is this executing?
Linux server.
On the EC2 instance, this particular EC2 instance, just because I'm accessing from the browser, don't assume it's on Windows, right? All of this is happening on this Linux server, on this EC2 instance, where Jenkins is installed. Jenkins has got this GUI, so we are seeing at the back end, it's executing on this same Jenkins server, the EC2 instance, right? Thank you all for your answers in the chat window. Right. So this is the thing you have to understand. Which program is executing this command and where is this being executed? As of now, everything is executed on the same EC2 instance. As we progress, we'll be also installing them on, we'll be also running them on some remote servers. Right? For now, it is on the same Jenkins server. So this is my job. Let us create another job, another sample job, like job 2. Freestyle one, and here if you just go again, I'm going to build steps, execute shell, and echo, let's say hello world, right? Also I would like to put the date command. Date command is a Linux command, right? Like if you put the date, it's a Linux command which will give you the current date of the server, right? So now that date, I would like to place it in the output should be placed in a file called, let's say, date.txt. So how do you do that? Redirection arrows we have seen, right? This is another example how you can use redirection arrows. Okay, and I would like to place this in under any folder you can use. I'm using temp folder, meaning on this Linux, on this Jenkins server under TMP, I should have a file called date.txt, but it says there is no such file. Okay, let's run the script and see. Let's run the job and see. Maybe this is a job to another sample job which will create a file with this output. Tomorrow, we will be creating a job which will build, compile, and so on. So is this job clear, everyone? I'm just using build steps here and again execute shell under this. Any questions from anyone? Are we good to go? So job 2 is created. If you go to dashboard, you will see that. Thanks for quick confirmations. So now you can, okay, let me run the job. And you can see the output here, right? printing is fine. If I run it again, I'll see the console output. It could be build 2, build 3. You can execute it in number of times and you will see the output. But where is this date one, right? Let's see here. If you do ls, yes, you should be seeing it. And as many number of times you run this, the dates are getting appended because we used double redirection arrows. It's appending each time. Is that all clear? So here the thing is, we were talking about a basic thing, basic concept. What is a job? Where is a job executed? And on which server it's executed, and which program at the backend is executing it. Like I told you, right? We'll create build jobs, test job, deploy job. Deploy job might be using some tools, different tools at the backend. Test job might be executing test cases written using some automation test tool and so on. Right? Hope that's clear for everyone.
Ma'am, if you run that, you said right the date dot text inside that, what will be there? Only the date will be there. Any other comments will be there?
Date will be there. Date is actually Linux command, right? Which
Okay.
is the current date of the server. That output, that command output is date. That is redirected to this file.
Okay. Okay. That echo hello world, it won't save in this text.
Won't save because I'm not saving it, right? I'm just
Okay.
writing it. So this is the date command date file output, date.txt. Yes, Manoj, through Jenkins job, we have created this file on the server with this text, with this content in the file. Yes, Mehul, you are unmuted.
Yeah, hi, Preeti. So in the build steps, right, apart from this shell scripting, what are the other options available?
In the build step, many things will be available in the build step, like Maven, Gradle, and or if you want to run batch commands, or else if you need anything else also, those can be seen here by installing the respective plugins.
Okay.
We'll be using this as we start our builds, Maven. It could be anything. If you need something else which is not present here, yes, plugin. That's where plugins comes in.
Yeah, okay. Got it. Thank you.
So as of now, I just created two simple sample individual independent jobs. They are not connected, right? They are no way connected. They are individual, independent and separate, right? Like how you can connect them? You can connect them this way. Job one can trigger job. How do you connect them? All of that we'll see. Hope everyone is clear with the concept of what is a job and like how the jobs are executed, means like how different programs can be used to execute it and where it is executing. This is the focus here. Now, if you are clear with this, we'll talk about user management in Jenkins. Before we get on to the real jobs, there are few things we need to understand, the administrative things like user management in Jenkins, Jenkins users.
Ma'am, we only create here in jobs, right? In Jenkins, and the build code and all provided by developers team, right?
Correct.
Okay, they provide. We just run the jobs to monitoring these things.
We create the jobs by using their code. Means they'll put the
Okay.
code, create a job which will pull and build it.
Okay. We're checking that it is the success or not the code.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll create those jobs, okay? Just wait for maybe a day or two. We'll be creating those jobs.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, this one job is free style. So can you create one more pipeline related to job, ma'am?
Related to?
Pipeline.
We'll do that. We will create them.
Ma'am, so this one is free style, na? Second one option, ma'am. Pipeline.
Yes, I will do that. We are going to create those jobs as well.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay. So now that we know the concept of job, let's proceed with the users, like how you can manage users. Because like, let's suppose in a DevOps team, there are 5 people, right? In a DevOps team, they are working on the pipeline. Which person should have what permissions on these pipelines and all can be addressed. That's what is distribution team management possible in Jenkins. So let's see how to do that. And before getting into the real jobs, let's see how to do that. Here you can go to manage Jenkins. Manage Jenkins is where all the administrative tasks goes in. Here, if you just come to security, there is an option called security. Secure Jenkins means define who is allowed to do what in Jenkins. Just go here. And here you will see security rel means we are using Jenkins own user database, means local Jenkins user database. You can go with LDAP or Unix data groups or active directories and all. You should choose the respective option. If you want an option which is not present here, like active directories and all, install a plugin, right? Here we are going with a Jenkins local database. Whatever it is, the authorization stands same, right? So there are different authorization strategies. Logged in users can do anything means if you have this URL, if you have this login, anyone can do anything. But in reality, the one which is more helpful is matrix based, project based, and there's one more called role based. So let's go through each one by one. First, matrix based. See, you will see the matrix opened here where you have to add your users. I have one user as of now, I have added it. And I want, see here, these are all, you can see overall credentials, agent, job, run, and so on. These are all different set of permissions. If you want to know what it is, you can keep your cursor there. The help text explains you everything. It's a self-explanatory, and each time Jenkins UI changes, those options can be just read from here. It's nothing but job permissions, agent credentials, and so on. We'll talk about them. For now, let's focus on job. And for admin, I just want to make him the admin for all the jobs. So I have given all. Save it. And I would like to create few more users. So you can go here for users. Like already admin user is there, we may create a bunch of users to test out things. So user 1, password is user 1, confirm password, full name, and email ID. So create the user. I'm creating one more just to sort out on different authorization strategies. Email ID. Any dummy email ID should do. So a bunch of users are created so that we can play around different authorization strategies. Now let's come here. Manage Jenkins, users, and you have got, oh sorry, I came to users again. Go to security. We have already created some users, add them to the matrix. Let me add user 1. Again, add another user, user 2. Okay, I have added all the users. So admin user is like given all admin permissions. And let's say user 1 is a new joinee, like new member in the team. So I would like to just give him, first you should give overall read. Overall read means first of all, he can see the dashboard, he can see the jobs. Then job specific read means he has got only read. He can only view the jobs. Whereas user 2 is a senior, anyway I'm giving overall read, and then all permissions to build, cancel, configure, create, delete, search, move, or workspace. What is workspace we'll discuss. But yeah, I have given all permissions because user tool is a senior person in the project. Is this matrix clear for all? So that we'll test those permissions now. Is this much clear for everyone? Okay, so now let me save this. Right now I'm logged as an admin. Let me log out. Let me log in as user one. User one is a junior. We have given only read. See, he can see the dashboard, but he don't see new job. Do you see? He can't create a job. He can't go to manage Jenkins. And when he go to the job, see, he see only these two options. He can just view the output. He cannot build it. He cannot rename. He cannot edit. He cannot do anything. Is that making sense? Right? This is with the user one. Let me log out, log in as user 2. So if you come to user 2, see, he can create a job. New item is available and he goes to the job. See, he can go to the workspace, build now, configure, delete, rename, all the jobs, right? That's how you can manage your teams. And the one we were using right now is matrix-based authorization strategy. Right? So if you take user 1, he has got read permissions throughout. User 2 has got all permissions. Right? So this is what is matrix. So a particular user has got different permissions. Sorry, a particular user has got same permissions across all the jobs. What if we want this kind of strategy? There could be different strategies implemented across different projects. Like job 1, job 2, user 1, user 2, user 2. Same user may have read permissions here. All permissions. All permissions here, read here. Maybe this could be strategy implemented in some projects. Right? Also, like user 1 might be he might be working on build job. So he was given all on build job, whereas he can just monitor other jobs. Right? There could be different strategies implemented. This is job specific. This is the one you are talking about, Manoj. This is job specific. This is also called as project-based authorization strategy. Got the difference between project-based and matrix-based? If you understand here, like the hands-on will be more easy. Let me go with the hands-on on this. Let me log out as user 2. Log in as admin again. Go to manage Jenkins. Here, if you just go here under security, we are choosing matrix based. Now choose this one, which is project based authorization strategy. Here we can add the users like admin user. We have user 1. We have user 2 as well. First admin, let me make him admin, and overall read for everyone. Overall read is a basic one everyone should have. First of all, they should see the dashboard. Then here also overall, I mean, read for all the jobs I'm giving. This is like global permissions or permissions across throughout, right? That's a global permissions kind of, or a minimal permissions for every job. Let's save here. Means for every job they have only read. But how do we dive in, or how do we refine these permissions further? Go to job 1, configure. Here you can see something like, sorry, in the beginning, general. Enable project-based security, right? Here you have to add the users again, whichever you want, like admin user, user 1, user 2. Job specific permissions are handled here. All the admin. Let's say user 1 should have all permissions on this job, right? Whereas only user 2 will have only read permissions, right? Is this clear? Are we good with this matrix? Thanks for confirming. Let me save it.
Who
Let's
will provide the access on these jobs, ma'am?
one person will be given Jenkins admin access, like this admin user. Whoever have got these admin permissions, 1 or 2 people will be having these permissions, they will manage it.
Okay, like AD team like that, or only
DevOps team.
DevOps team?
DevOps team will do. Like now coming to this, configure, general enable project based, add the users, but whatever strategies we were using are limited. With the strategy, most widely used strategy is role-based access control strategy. I'll cover that also. I'll come to that part. So admin, and let's say user 2 should have all permissions on this show. Right? Whereas user 1 have only read. Right? So this is the project based. Save it. Now, let me log out. Same user will have different permissions across different jobs. See, user 1, if you go to job 1, he has got all permissions. Same user, if you go to job 2, see, got the difference between matrix base and project base, everyone? If any questions, let me know. So come here to this job 2. Here you can see, like if you see here job 2, right, you can see all the permissions. Sorry, I logged as admin, I'm sorry. Let me log in as user 2. User 2, if he goes to job 1, he has got only view. Whereas job 2, all the permissions, right? So that's how you have project-based and matrix-based authorization strategies and the differences between them. This is how it is. Same user can have different permissions on different jobs, or else you can use the strategy like a person can have same job across all the jobs in the pipeline. It depends on the strategy, the design, how teams want to like, or how they have designed their project. It depends on the resource availability, it depends on the expertise of the different people, and it depends on various factors. So which is possible through matrix based and project based. And above all this, there is one more strategy called role-based access control strategy, which is called RBAC strategy. This is more widely used. We'll look into this strategy. To look into this, we need to install a plugin. But before going to that, I would like to just log into my Jenkins server again. Right. So here, if you just go to the Jenkins home directory, var lib Jenkins, you have the secrets, plugins, everything. Similarly, you will also have users. Okay, it's a small u. Do you see all the users we created? Also, there is an XML, users.xml, where all the users were stored. That's a Jenkins local user database, meaning all the users are stored in here. Right? And coming back, so a combination of these two, or else a strategy about these two is role-based access control strategy. For this, again, you can go here, security. Like we choose matrix-based, project-based, we should see another option, role-based access control strategy. But we are not seeing this option. So what to do? If we need any option, any feature in Jenkins, what should we do? Where do we get the option from? We need to install a plugin, right? That's where plugins comes in. How to install the plugins? Again, even these are under Manage Jenkins. There is something called plugins. Under system configuration, you have plugins. Add, remove, disable, or enable plugins that can extend the functionality of Jenkins. So you can just go here. Available means all the plugins available for Jenkins, some hundreds of plugins. Install means whichever we have installed in the beginning, right? So all of them will be seen here. And you can also disable any plugin, uninstall it. You can uninstall this, but this is grayed out because this plugin cannot be uninstalled because it might be having some other dependent plugins. So first uninstall them and uninstall it. And like again, coming back to available, if you need any plugin, let's say I need some plugin for report generation for Selenium test cases. I can search for Selenium. You don't need to memorize the plugin, know all the hundreds of plugins. No, this is how you do. Like you can search for those plugins here and you can go for the plugin official documentation. It helps you understand what this particular plugin does, right? So that's how you will understand the plugins and install them. For us, we need something as role-based. So if you just type in the relevant terms, you can see it. Role-based authorization strategy enables users authorization using a role-based strategy, right? So you can install this plugin. This is how you can install. You don't need a restart of your Jenkins. Dynamic loading is available. For certain plugins, you may have to restart. It will tell you whether you want to restart, but now it's not asking for restart. We can just go here, security, and now you should be seeing this, correct? Earlier, we don't have it. Now we have this option. So we have to select this and proceed with this. We shall take up this RBAC strategy tomorrow, and you can do hands-on till this part and we'll pick up from here in the next class. Any questions in this part from anyone? Are the two authorization strategies clear for everyone?
Ma'am, can you tell me what's the difference between matrix-based security and project-based matrix authorization strategy? Once again, you can tell me, please.
These are the differences. This is matrix-based and project-based, right? Matrix-based means if you take any user here, right, like user one, he will have same permissions on all the jobs.
Okay.
Whereas in project based, same user one can have read permissions on job one, all permissions on job two. Means
Okay.
same user can have different permissions on different jobs. That is project based. Depending on the job, you give the permission.
Okay.
Means this is a different strategy. This is a different here job. Here, like depending on the let's say experience or expertise, jobs may be assigned, all the jobs. Here, depending on the role, jobs may be assigned. Like he was given all the deployment tasks. So all the permissions across deploy.
Okay, got it, ma'am.
In real scenario, which authorization are using?
RBAC. RBAC is the one which is used. RBAC will be like combination of these two. As you now got an idea on matrix base and project base, both of this combination will be RBAC, which we'll cover tomorrow. RBAC is the one which is used in reality.
Okay, thank you.
Generally, most of the questions in Jenkins comes from your pipeline, your different stages. How do you integrate different stages, or those things would be coming from the perspective of Jenkins rather than these strategies from interview perspective. But even these relevant interview questions are also there on the website. You can go through, like you have that portal, right? Where you have all the questions, interview questions, all of them are there. Okay, another question from Manoj regarding our EC2 instance. Do we need to stop the instance once our work is completed? Definitely you have to do it. Like once you are done with this task, like let's say you are done, stop the instance. Tomorrow when you come back, again, start the instance. That's how you should start. Let's say if you don't want this instance anymore, if you want to shut down and delete, then choose this terminate. Got it, and are we good? So that is all for today. Like set up your Jenkins, right? All the instruction documents were there in the drive, you're there on the lab assignments portal. You have the material all over, right? You have huge material. So go through it, set up your Jenkins, do the hands-on till this much, and we'll take up from here.
Then can you show me once again the security inbound rules?
Security inbound rule. Okay. Like this is your EC2 instance, right? When you select your instance, you will see all the things here, details. So you should go to your security tab. Here you will see the security group. Click on this and you will see inbound, outbound rules. Go to inbound, edit the inbound, add rule. Here you have to add the port. That's how it's added, and save it.
Okay, got it.
So this is like allowing incoming traffic, whichever port you want to access from outside. Like from outside means this is my browser outside AWS, it's on my laptop. So to connect to any instance from outside through a particular port, you should add it in the inbound rules. And here is the important interview question. This is actually AWS concept, right? Security groups. The important interview concept could be source parameter. What is the importance of this source? How do you secure? How do you configure your inbound rules securely? Source parameter is the one which helps us. If you choose here anywhere means anyone with this IP and this port can access. Anyone with the public IP. If you choose something like custom or else like my custom and give some other IPs whichever you want to allow, or else my IP means only from your system kind of configurations, so that you are making the server secure, right? You want to allow this connection only for certain teams or certain groups, you can also configure it. That's how it would be made secure.
In
This is
AWS,
important.
who manages this
This is important.
instance?
This is important from security perspective. Yes,
Okay.
please tell me.
Who manages the servers? They only take care of the security rules, right? Like any other security team will be handling that entire.
Again, it depends on like organization, your projects, and so on. Let's say in some organizations there'll be a separate cloud team, right? Who will configure and provide you these servers. They will configure all of this. They'll just give you the IP address. You can handle that. Or else in some projects, particularly in startups, there will be only one team who will be creating pipelines, who will be creating those instances, whatever they need and all. So, like I said, there is no strict or bound rule. This is done only by DevOps team or AWS team or cloud team. Having this idea should be fine for from DevOps perspective.
Thank you, ma'am.
So now that like I am done with working on this server, I'll stop this instance. This is important, right? And whenever like I want to get started, I'll just go here and click on start the instance, connect back and work on it. That port range, can we give any range or it is only 8080? Manoj, you should give the port where your service is running. Here my Jenkins default port is 8080, so I have given that port. So whichever port you want to access, on whichever port your service is running, that port you should give in the security rule. I think I answered all the questions. Please do the hands-on and we'll continue from here tomorrow. All right then. Thanks everyone. Good day. See you tomorrow. Bye everyone.